Welcome, everyone. It's Sharon Devonish Lee, publicity strategist, and welcome to NetStruc Talks. And I'm excited today to have this person, Roz Miller Choice, who is the expert maker in helping entrepreneurs find their genius. And what does that mean? Well, we'll find more of that out when I bring you back to NetStruc Talks. Welcome again, and it's Sharon Devonish Lead. And as I mentioned, I have a special guest here today, Roz Miller Choice, the expert maker. Roz, how are you?
I'm great, thanks, Sharon. I'm loving your open. It's good to be here.
Thank you. Hubby did that for me, so I can't take the credit for it.
I love it.
NetStruc Media always does his thing, so I can't take the credit for it. But I when we met a couple of years ago, and we actually met, ironically, for another organization that we both belong to, Mocha Moms. And we literally just connected so great together because, the work that I do as a publicist, that's what you came from, journalism, right. TV, and you know the craziness of what, that world is all about. So now you're in this industry, you're in this world in terms of, helping entrepreneurs find their genius. Mm-hmm. Talk to us about that. What does that really mean? And why did you decide to leave from the media, journalism, TV to this?
Well, it was sort of a natural progression. So in television, I worked as a television reporter, host, and anchor in the New York market. And basically, when you're a journalist, your job is to tell a story. Mm-hmm. And so right now, I help people to tell their story, to build their brand, which means they will then start a business. Utilizing the uniqueness that I come with is you are utilizing your know-how, your knowledge, your training, which you already have. So you get to start a business with information that you already have, And so the reason this started was out of frustration, pure and simple. I can't even lie. It came out of me being frustrated with people who mm-hmm. had knowledge to share, but they didn't know the value of it. So therefore, they'd either give it away or never share it.
Right.
And this was information that could help someone else, change someone else's life, improve someone else's life. I've worked with therapists who have the ability to help save someone's life with their information. So right. The frustration came out of people having this knowledge, and then I'd explain to them, you do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And they'd go nowhere because they didn't recognize what was necessary. So I stepped in and started going, let me get you out of your way and I'll do it for you.
And that's so important because I do the same thing. So it's, when you sit there and you hear someone's story, but, and they're talking about it in your head, you're imagining this story.
Yes. All of that.
Yeah. You just imagine, and it's coming to life, and you're saying to yourself, do you not see this as you're talking to them? And they're sitting there like, well, no. And until you start unraveling it and talking to them and showing them, that's when the light bulb, that's when the eyes start lighting up. It was like, wow, exactly. I didn't even think of it. So I completely understand in terms of frustration and what you're talking about, because there's so many entrepreneurs out here that have great stories, has a great brand and great business, but nobody knows about it because they don't know how to tell the right story. Exactly. You say bring out, you say, to bring out their genius. I say bring out your red apples. Like, what is your unique? How is it that you can tell this story? So yes, you hit it on the head.
It's those aha moments that you're describing, that they finally have, like, wait a minute, you mean this information that I have, actually someone else would need and crazy enough pay me for? Yeah. Yes. Depending on what that information is.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So let's say, I'm going to give a couple of examples. Let's say you cared for an elderly parent.
Mhm.
There's so much that goes into that. The research, the resources that you need to have, how you have scheduled your day so that they're cared for, plus you work, plus you have your own social life. There are people who are caring for elderly parents right now who are clueless, lost, depressed, frustrated that other siblings are not sharing in that care. But person A has already come up with systems that they created because they needed to in order, in their own lives to care for their elderly parent. And they have answers that someone else needs.
Yes.
That's just one example of, and I like to call that, what have you overcome? In uncovering your genius, there are questions that you should ask yourself. One of them is, what have you overcome? Another one might be, what have you been trained to do? Another might be, what are you passionate about? What would you do for free? And you've learned a lot about. And understand something about the word expert. And I think people get really, it's a misnomer. They get scared. It's like, well, I'm not an expert. I don't know everything. You probably know more than the average person does about a specific subject.
Right.
So get rid of the expert portion and just come with, here's something I know. Here's something I want to share. And I want to be able to package that information to the point I have the ability to share it with someone else and create a business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? It's so important for people to understand and not get scared. And I'm glad you brought that up, because when I do talk about, okay, we got to show your expertise, they're like, I'm not an expert. Yes, you are. How long have you been doing this? So you may not have been doing it for free, but how long have you been doing this? Okay, you've been doing it for free, for helping out your church members, helping out your neighbors, helping, if you're a cook, you've been cooking food for the church picnic, all these, and everybody keeps coming to you as you are that person. Last time I checked, when somebody comes to you for a particular thing, you're an expert. And that's what you got to say this,
Sharon. Here's mine. What's that thing that people call you and say, hey, can I pick your brain?
Oh my goodness.
They know something about you that you haven't figured out yet. You're an expert.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You're right. When someone says that pick your brain thing, you tag expert onto your name, because I'm not going to go to somebody who doesn't make the best fried chicken and say, hey, I need to pick your brain. And what ingredients do you put in your fried chicken? Right. It might taste like, what was that show? What was that song called back in the day? And I'm dating myself, with Sugar Hill Gang. The chicken tastes like wood. Like, why would I come to you?
I don't know that song, but all right.
Oh my goodness. Roz, don't make me feel old.
You're old. I just don't know much about music.
But, that's what you would not do. You would not go to somebody who has nothing to do with that particular thing and go to them. So we need people. We want you guys to understand. We want entrepreneurs to really understand that when you have a specialty that you love and what you said you're passionate about and what you could bring awareness about, that's something that you have to put in a story format, because people want to hear it. People want to hear it. I mean, I what I love to do is relatable. So are you relatable to that story? Sometimes people don't have a relatable story and it sounds great, but some other people, they have a relatable story that people will connect with you on. And talk about that. I know you were given an example with the person that has the home care, for seniors, with relatableness. How does that work with clients with you?
Well, you know what? Let me give another example. So let's say you had a financial crisis, right, in your life, and you have picked yourself up, and now your credit score is high, and your bills are paid off, your debt is paid off, and you have bought your first home. Well, what was that process? Because there is somebody who is currently in a financial crisis that needs that help from you.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I think the thing about it is, the way to go about this is, once you have uncovered your genius and gotten past your imposter syndrome, we'll talk about that in a moment.
Yes, definitely.
Then it's a matter of just sort of creating the system in which you got from point A to point B. And that's something that I help clients with. All right. I have products and services, an online course, plus I actually work one-on-one with clients as well to help them create that system. But either way, once you have created and defined the system in which, and that's just step 1, step 2, step 3, steps 4, steps right through 7 of how you went from A to B, then you got something that you can share and help someone else with. You know, someone else is going through what you have already overcome.
Right. Right. Definitely. Definitely. So you touched a little bit on the imposter syndrome, which all of us have been, fall prey to.
Yes.
How do you
real.
deal with it? Yeah, it is. Even people that have been doing it for so long, sometimes that it kicks in every so often. How do you deal with somebody who literally has that full blown and they're coming to you and like, Roz, what am I to do? Because that really is not me, but it really is.
All right. So, okay, you made a music reference before. I have very few music references, but here's one. Remember that song, Don't Believe the Hype? Well, I got the opposite. I have a system that I help people to build their confidence, and it is called Believe the Hype. So if someone is calling you, and we've talked about this, if someone is calling you and saying, can I pick your brain? Then you might as well recognize, oh, okay, there is some knowledge. I am an expert. I do have something that is of value. If you work a 9 to 5 and colleagues come to you because someone referred you, oh, you want to know about this particular subject? Oh, you've got to go see Aaron. Well, Aaron, hate to tell you, but you might as well get past your imposter syndrome, because you have proof that people come to you for a specific subject matter expertise. You've got proof. Ask yourself, are people coming to me for this information? And do I have answers for them? If the answer is yes and yes, get past your imposter syndrome.
Right. So you got to show the social proof. You have to show it to them, build it out, which means you got to have conversations. This isn't just a one-time conversation. This is not a 2-time conversation. This is multiple conversations that you have with people for them to feel confident about themselves and to see that they're not an imposter, but they actually are that expert that can actually bring results to people who are actually reaching out to them.
Absolutely. And actually, to be honest, that's a one-time conversation for me. I do take clients through a one-time consultation, and there are aha moments in that consultation. And then when I start to list or have them list for me, all right, so tell me what you know about this, and I start writing. And then I don't stop writing, because it is just sort of pouring out of them.
Right. Right.
The imposter syndrome instantly goes away.
It goes away.
They don't realize how much they know until I start asking them questions, and then it's like, oh my goodness, I forgot I even knew that. And it started from somewhere. I forgot that I did take that course. I forgot that I had this experience at work. I forgot that I solved this problem. I forgot I overcame this challenge. Yeah.
It's amazing the things that they forget. Yes. It's amazing. And not to say that every time you do something amazing, you'd write it down. But, when we decide to go into business, when we decide to, take that journey into entrepreneurship, we forget all of the great things of what we've done because we're running off of passion.
Yes.
We're running off of how many people can I help? How many people can I do? And instead of really sitting down and putting these things together, that's why it's so important to deal with people like you, people like me, for them to help understand what you did is going to project how you are going to be successful, because people want to hear about these things. People want to know. People want results. They want to know, how did you do before this?
Right. How did you do this? And you actually have the problem that I have, and you've solved it.
Right.
You mean that I can get answers from you quickly that would take me a lot longer to find out on my own? That's the thing about sharing your knowledge and being able to help someone else and building a brand around helping other people. You shortcut someone else's discovery. You shortcut their transformation. You know, you may have gone the long way around, and maybe that's why you did, so that you could prepare for this moment in time. But now that you know what you know, you can't unknow it.
That's true.
You have the ability to go, you do this, you do this, you do this in order to have the transformation or to solve your problem. You know, we're in business to solve problems. And
absolutely,
in order to be in business, you have to be able to sell something. So that's why I love what it is that I do. I help people know it, share it, and profit. That's the name of my course, as a matter of fact. Know it, share it, profit.
Know it, share it, profit. And you know, when people do interviews, and you know this, you know, when they get on there and when you're coaching them, you're like, oh, yes, you know, I want to sell this. And I'm like, no, there's no selling when you're doing these interviews. You're telling your story. You're telling the listening audience, how is it your brand or your business, your service, your product can help them or bring an awareness to them. And so that's why I love when you talk about, you know, it in terms of, you know, sharing the knowledge.
Yes.
So when you get them to share it, now how do you package it? Like, how do you get them to package this knowledge now?
And what do you mean to be able to then monetize it?
To monetize, right? Absolutely, to monetize it. So, you know, they got all this information in their head. Now they're saying, okay, great. You know, I could tell my story. Now what?
All right. So I help them create that system that I talked about. What are the steps for you to get there? And then the ways for you to share and monetize your knowledge. I won't say it is infinitesimal, but here are a couple. You can host workshops, hold live events, create trainings, become a consultant, write a book, become a speaker. Those are just some of the ways that you can share your information and earn money from it while helping someone else.
Right. Absolutely. And that's the key, helping someone else. When you cannot help someone else, you're not doing the job right.
Right. You're not really in business. You're in business to solve a problem. People have problems or questions. You have to be able to answer a question and solve a problem in order to have a successful business.
Right. And it's so funny. I had a conversation with a restaurant owner last week, and they told me, they said, you know, I'm in the business, you know, I'm here. He just opened up his restaurant, and he was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to be feeding everybody. And, you know, I'm going to make a lot of money, just a lot of money. And I was like, okay, great. No problem. I said, but talk to me a little bit, you know, what type of cuisine, you know, what's the root of you coming into business? He's like, because I know how to cook good and people are going to eat it. I was like, can you think about solving a problem? And he's like, no, I'm not solving. What problem? There is no problem. Everybody loves food. Everyone loves food. I was like, okay, see, this is where the disconnect comes in.
It is, you know, everybody is not your client.
Everybody is not your client. Everybody does not like the same type of cuisine. And you know, something, customer service also plays a part. Location plays a part. All of these things plays a part. You know, so it took me a minute for him to literally, you know, get the aha moment. But the aha moment was that, you know, the type of food that he was bringing to the table, that he was bringing to the community, it was a big need. And the heart of what, you know, he kept saying, yes, I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm going to make a lot of money. But at the end of the day, he also had a philanthropy side to him. He was dealing with, you know, I was like, well, where did this part come in? Like, you didn't even mention this, because he was homeless when he was younger, and it was hard for him and his family to get food. I was like, your story is amazing. Like,
I was going to say, it's that story that they miss.
like
That relatable
why?
story.
And he was like, because he's like, I want press to come for my grand opening. I'm going to tell them that, I'm open for business, and this is what my prices are. It's like, people don't care about the price.
I was going to say, that's not newsworthy.
People don't care about the price. People don't care. People don't even, honestly, they want to hear your story that you're opening into the community, because when you were little, you were homeless and it was hard for your mother. So your philanthropy part, so all of these things ties into building out their brand, so more people will be able to relate to it and share it. And I'm glad that, we're having this candid conversation. It feels good to have a conversation with somebody who actually understands what I'm going through.
No, it does. We can relate to each other. Yes.
We can relate to each other and tell it in different formats, in terms of how important it is that this line of work of what we do helps entrepreneurs and gets them to build out their brand exposure and build out their storyline and make profits.
That exactly. And one of the ways that I do talk to my clients about in terms of visibility, and that kind of comes in with you being a publicist. How do you get visibility without understanding the whole story portion of it that has to be weaved in, as opposed to just thinking, well, the press is going to come out because I'm doing something.
Yeah.
Period. No.
No.
4,000 people are doing that. What's different about it for you?
Exactly.
And so, the visibility portion is a big part of it. And speaking is another portion that I encourage my clients to do. We, in fact, write speeches for them and create a directory of speaking opportunities for them. So that, I think that speaking from the stage is an amazing credibility boost.
Absolutely.
Right? And you need that in business for people to, know, like, and trust you. So credibility, huge. And you can utilize the stage to brand, for brand awareness and to market your products. So there's just sort of that threefold right there, just from speaking from the stage.
Speaking from the stage. Tool. Absolutely. Speaking from the stage, writing a book. That's so important. I've had clients that, felt that they're not book worthy. I'll be honest with you. I didn't feel I was book worthy until, a couple of years ago, that I was like, oh, shoot, like, I have so many stories that I can tell that can help so many people based off of my life, my entrepreneur journey, my career journey, just personal life stories that has gotten me to the point, made me think differently about myself as an entrepreneur. So I'll be honest, I was that person also. But when I talk to clients, I said, listen, at the end of the day, you should be an author. You should be a professional speaker. A professional speaker that gets paid. And if you're not getting paid, then you are selling something from the stage, which is your program, because your program is helping those that are in the audience. It's all about building out your brand exposure, but it's the right way to do it. It's the right way.
And what you talked about, you feeling not quite worthy to write a book. Well, you know what? One of the things that impressed me the day that we met was how you managed to get the press to a luncheon. Remember?
Yes, I
got the press there. And there were techniques that you utilized in order to, one, get the press there. It wasn't a matter of a quick press release and you didn't have to think about it again. There were several calls, follow-ups that had to be done. And once they arrived, you were making sure. See, these are all little things that come so naturally to you because you've done them so long, but other people don't know how to do. And you set him up. You knew who he should be talking to. You prepped the leader of the chapter so that she was ready for the interview. You did a little portion yourself. All of those things come from your training. And we simply forget.
Yeah,
those
you're
steps.
Right.
Because we've done them so long that we forget that they even have value. Someone who doesn't deal with the press would have had no idea how to do that. And it's second nature to you now.
Yeah. It is. It is. And I thank you for that. I really do. Because, sometimes, press is very finicky.
Yes.
It is the flavor of their moment.
Yes.
That if you are not their moment, sorry.
And you can quickly fall off the moment.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, they were ready to come to you, and all of a sudden there's a breaking story, and you are
not. You're done. You're done. So I totally, totally get it. But Roz, before we go, give us, I want to say maybe, what word of advice would you give somebody that has the imposter syndrome or that is on the fence or really doesn't understand loves their business, knows that it's a great business, but really is in that middle, that fog? What advice would you give them?
Is in a fog of, explain it a little bit more for me. What fog
fog in terms of that, they're doing business, but they're not doing the right business. And they don't understand why they're not doing the right business.
Not doing the right business. Interesting. You know what? A lot of people come to me with a sense of a calling. That's what I call it. Or knowing that there is a purpose for them. It's like they get this sort of nagging feeling that they are not necessarily following their purpose. It's there, but they haven't quite found it. I know that what I say to clients or people in general is ask yourself some questions and be honest with the answers. I'll hold that one question for a moment. What am I passionate about? Mm-hmm. What brings a smile to my face? Who do I want to help? That's a big one. Who do I want to help? And how can I help them? What can I offer that's in my wheelhouse that would help someone else? And if you're going to turn it into a business, which I would advise you to, ask yourself, what would I be willing to do for the next 5 years? Right? And what do I know about it? And once you figure out what you know about that particular subject, start showcasing and displaying your expertise. See, people cannot refer business to you if they're unclear about what you do. You have to be absolutely crystal clear on what you do. That's how you build a brand. I was in Washington yesterday. And I'd gone to an anniversary party. And when I came in, a woman said to me, "It's Roz, the Expert Maker." I'd never seen her before. I'd never seen this woman before. Your brand and what you do should be so crystal clear that people recognize you and can say what it is you do before you say it. They should be able to say to a friend, "Oh, she is a branding and marketing expert. She helps people transform from the best kept secret into the go-to person." Someone else should be able to say that for you. You got to be that clear on what you do. And I think once you get that clarity, once you've asked yourself those questions that I talked about a moment ago, then you will find, I'm going to tell you, there's a peace that comes over you that will indeed recognize, yes, that's who I am. That's what I offer. That's my calling. That's my purpose. That's when you know you've reached your purpose. You've reached your calling. You will know that you know who is your target audience, who you were designed to help, and how you're going to structure your business. People sell different kinds of things in this sort of knowledge brokering business that I talk about, where you share your knowledge or you share your expertise. This becomes, it's interesting. Let me also say this. If you're feeling like, well, this is something that everyone does. Everyone offers the service that I'm offering. They don't offer it like you do. And that's where Sharon's message about bringing your story in, that's where it becomes really, really, really important. You're back.
I'm back. I am so sorry. That's what happens with technical difficulties. I am so sorry. But you kept it going. Keep going. Keep going. You were dropping some serious nuggets in terms of, how folks can really understand their brand and feel confident.
And you bring your authenticity to it. I was talking about, it's not even imposter syndrome. It is the feeling of, well, lots of other people are already offering this service. When you bring you to it, when you bring your authenticity to it, that's when you start to sort of create a brand around it. Right. There are people, everyone's not for everyone. You could be offering the same service to someone else, and people will still come to you because they don't really like that other person. They can't relate to that other person. Absolutely. They don't feel a kinship with that other person. They're fearful that person can't help them. But you could be saying the exact same thing in your way, with your secret sauce, in your unique voice, and people will be attracted to you.
Absolutely. And again, it is important for you as someone, as a coach, tell your story, because that is what would make someone be more in tune and more inclined to work with you as well. So not only are you helping your clients tell their story, you yourself have to tell the story as well for them to feel comfortable with you. And you do that in an amazing way, Roz. So I have to say thank you so much. It has been a pleasure having this conversation with you. Like I said, it feels good having a conversation.
It does. I love talking to colleagues who get it.
Absolutely. And once again, everyone, you will see all of the contact information down in the description where you can find Roz. And if you want to have a chat with her or pick her brain, because she is the expert maker, you will find all of that information in the description. Once again, thank you so much for joining me on NetStruc Talks. Roz, thank you again, and enjoy the rest of your week. Take care.
Thank you, Sharon.